Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Carpo. Taking a break from my projects and thinking about the end of the world. It's coming. It is coming. No, the end of humanity may come eventually, but I think that we're pretty far enough advanced to where we can survive just about anything. Maybe not many of us, but the human race in general, find a way to survive. But humans, may be an endangered species. We may be facing some end times. I don't even like talking about it because it's so passe, I guess. I'm just all the different theories that people have about what's coming next. It gets old, and you hear it every year. Last year it was about Ison was going to come and be brighter than the sun, and break up in the atmosphere, or maybe it was an alien ship, and every year before that. I was just looking at these books here. I've got Behold a Pale Horse. I read that. That's William Cooper. I read this back in 92 or something. It's nothing but government documents and classified, supposedly classified papers, all kinds of stuff about the UFOs and the government. And there was so much stuff in here about the end of the world was coming, and are the sheep ready to shear? Yeah, it's a fascinating book, but it's like you don't know how much of it's true. And if you read it, you end up thinking, oh shit, all this stuff is real. The shit's going down. But they were saying how, before the year 2000, all this stuff was going to happen, and that they were going to declare martial law because there was going to be some major catastrophe. And I was like, okay, I keep my eyes out. You never know. Got to be prepared for anything. And then in 99, somebody gave me this book, The Y2K Survival Guide. I'm just like, okay, I think my mom gave it to me or something. Somebody just, said, read this. I never read it, but I was just flipping through it today because I found it in a box of old books. And I thought, I was looking at all the things they were saying, how to store food, how to store water, how to be prepared, and how the computers were going to crash. 2000 was going to be the end of the world. I always knew, even back then, that there was nothing was going to happen on 2000. It was just like, it was too far-fetched. It's like, the very fact that we're aware of it, we should be aware that it's going to be, whatever. So then, between 2000 and 2012, there were all kinds of other events that were going to happen. I bought these books, actually, in 2009 or 2008. It was 2012, The Return of Quetzalcoatl, if you will. I actually was going to read the other one too. It's got that really cool crop circle on the cover, but it's by Daniel Pinchbeck. It's not just about the end of the world in 2012. This one was an explanation of, Mayan prophecies for big change and whatnot. But it was books like these that got people all excited about it. And this one was the second. It was 2012 Perspectives on the Next Age. And it's got some other authors and interesting articles in it. Yeah, it's interesting that they had this. Everybody had this thought that there was going to be some major event in 2012, and earlier, years past, I heard about 2012 back in, I think. God, what was that? I must have been about 17. So it was about 21 years ago, 22 years ago. And I heard about this whole 2012 thing, and I was like, oh my God, something big is coming. Something's going to happen. And I read up on it, and I was fascinated with this whole Mayan calendar thing. And so I looked into it, and, pretty quickly found out that the Mayans never said anything about the end of the world. So from that point on, 20 years ago, I kept hearing people talking about it, the end of the world. The Mayans predicted the end of the world. And I knew what was coming. I knew that 2011 was going to be crazy, and that all the channels were going to be full of shows about 2012 and the end times. And that's exactly what happened. And people were all, riled up about it. And I knew in my heart that it was going to be a personal change for people, if anything. That if there was anything going to happen in 2000, my thought on 2012 was, and then at that point was, that 2012 is a point of humanity where we have the option to not transform ourselves into these godlike beings like some people thought, but to make a change, to go down a certain road, because I feel like 2012 was the, and I hate to say this, but the peak of civilization, if you want to call it that. But the point where we've built up so fast, it's only going to go downhill from here because we have too much industry. We've used up too many of our resources. So if anything, 2012 could be seen as not just peak oil, but like peak everything. Peak oil may be over. People will debate it. Some people say we haven't hit peak oil. Whatever, I'm not going to debate that, but 2012 is what you make it, is what I'm saying. You know, if it could be absolutely nothing, but it was just another end of the world freak for a lot of people. They wanted to think that shit was going to go down, everything was going to end, and I sympathize with that point of view, you know, dude, because I've had, when I was younger, I had all kinds of hopes and dreams for, you know, how the world was going to be, and that there was going to be some major event that was going to wipe out a majority of humanity so we could start over with the people who survive, I guess. And, you know, then you start asking yourself questions like, what makes you think you should survive, you know? Now, people always say that humanity needs to be wiped out, but they never say they need to be wiped out. You know, it's always they're going to be the survivor, they're going to be the one that makes it. So I made it a point, you know, to make myself prepared mentally, emotionally, and materially for any type of, you know, event that might happen. And I feel pretty darn prepared because I realize that most of the planning is educational. You know, if you want to be smart, you can go out. A lot of people think that going out and buying guns is going to help them when the end comes, you know. No, a gun will help you hunt or defend yourself, but that's for another story. Anyway, yeah, got cut off mid-thought. I'm going to finish this up in another one. Basically, 2012, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. What do you guys think?